Women in sports, we need each other. We need you to show up and take up space. When you do that, you automatically give permission to other women to do the same. Welcome to the Game of Her Own podcast, a free resource for women who work in the sports and entertainment industry. Each week, we get real and talk about the things that hold us back and how we can overcome them and keep climbing to the top. And the top is however you define it. We talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Consider this podcast your secret weapon. You will learn from the best in the business and be able to take immediate action with all the advice that you hear. I'm your host, Jahaan Blake, a leadership development coach and consultant. I've worked in sports for 20 years. 15 of those years were spent working for the Red Sox, Dodgers, and the Cubs. After 15 years of working in the front office, I took a leap of faith and I started my own business. Friends, as a Black woman in sports, I know that the industry can take a toll on your confidence and sometimes leave you feeling defeated. Join me each week so I can support you on your journey. I promise you, each week you will feel stronger and more confident than the week before. So let's get started with this week's episode. What does it mean to take up space? As women who work in a male-dominated industry, we are often given the advice, make sure you take up space. Listen, it is really good advice. I even purchased a mug that says take up space on it as a reminder every single morning as I'm sipping my caffeine of choice. My question to you is, do you know how to take up space? And if you do, are you taking up space every single day? Some days, do you feel like it's a little harder than others? There's days that you feel like you are on top of the world. You are doing your thing and it's working really well. And there are other days that you just want to run and hide because nothing seems to be working. You cannot get a win. Forget run and hide. You don't even want to come out of your room. You probably know this, but I'm going to say it anyway. We all have highs and lows, and that's okay. That's natural. As high achieving women, we need to show up every single day and take up space. Even on those days, you don't want to come out of your room. Even on those days, you don't believe that you necessarily deserve to or should be taking up space. Please know that you do. You deserve to take up space. You should take up space. We all believe in you. And here's the deal. Women in sports, we need each other. We need you to show up and take up space. When you do that, you automatically give permission to other women to do the same. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about 3 easy ways to take up space. And make sure you stick around to the end because I have a bonus tip as well. All right, Game of Her Own listeners, let's do this. The first one is body language and tone. Now, I remember when I was younger, I think it was high school, elementary, it was probably all the grades. My teachers always would say to me, your body language is so important. You look so upset. Why are you sitting that way? Listen, we are in school all day long, and sometimes the stuff you're teaching is really boring. Of course, my body language is blah. I don't want to have to go to school and sit in a certain way at attention to make you feel better. So I just got that out the way. It sounds like I'm navigating some past scars, but we won't go there. That's a whole different podcast. But when you're at work, it is important. So as I get older, I'm like, okay, I know that it's important when I'm going to a job interview, when I'm sitting in a meeting. I know those things are important to convey that I am present, that I am there. I am here to play, if you will. It's important that your body language looks like you belong there, you want to be there, and you are ready to go. And the same thing with your tone, same thing with your voice. How you say things is just as important as what you say. If you feel like you have trouble keeping that sort of posture, if you will, or that body language, making it a 10 out of 10, or your tone, think back to your job interview for the job that you are currently doing. Think about when you were selling your capabilities, when you were telling the interviewers why you belonged, why they should hire you. Bring that same energy to meetings that you're in, even if they were virtual and you're doing video screens. Sometimes you have to turn off your video screen because you're just like, I just need to slouch for a minute. Like, I just need no one to look at me. I get that. But when it is on, so is that body language. You are taking up space. You are showing that you belong there. You are showing that you are confident. Even if you're a little nervous, Even if your confidence is wavering, show them that you belong. I hate the saying, fake it till you make it, but it works. Now I'm all about authenticity. So let's be real for a second. There are meetings that you go into and you may feel comfortable with the person and say something along the lines of, I'm exhausted, so please don't take the way I'm slouching or kind of sitting with my head, holding my head up with my hand as me not being interested in this meeting. The only thing I got working right now is my brain. I can't concentrate on anything else. I've actually said those things where I've walked in, I'm like, I am exhausted. I'm ready for this meeting with the two of us, but don't take my facial expressions personal. It has nothing to do with you. I just didn't sleep well. Those things are okay. You could still take up space and be you, but there are times when you have to be in a bigger group. There are times when you have to be with people who you don't know very well, and you want to show up and take up space. When your body language is just hunched over, or you're kind of sitting back and your shoulders are up, closer to your ears, right? You do things that it seems like you're almost minimizing yourself. Others take note of that. And others, people, they prey on that. And I'm pointing at the screen. Y'all can't see me. They prey on that and they take advantage. When you take up space with your body language and your tone, when you show up as the person who was in that interview, your colleagues are going to respect you. Your colleagues are going to trust you. Your colleagues are going to think, all right, she has her shit together. Now, is everybody? I would say majority. You might have one person who doesn't even notice, but the majority of people will notice you taking up space. What I want you to do for a second is imagine all of the women, even men in the room, who just naturally take up space. They walk in and they are confident. They seem very calm and cool. Their shoulders are not up by their ear. They sit at the table and not in the back against the wall behind the table. When there's those extra seats against the wall, right? They take up space. They sit down and they're there, and their tone sounds confident. Inside, sometimes people are scared. I'm telling you, I have given speeches, talks, and in the background, I was nervous, but nobody knew that. My tone did not say that. If there's one thing you take away from today, and I always recommend, try these out. Try them out one at a time. One week, try one. Next week, try another one. Try perfecting one that you've already been working on. But if one thing you take away from today is pay attention to your body language. Are you showing up like the woman who showed up for the interview? Are you speaking like the woman who spoke at that interview? And if you are, then you're taking up space. And if you feel good about it, keep doing it. And if you feel nervous, keep doing it. Don't stop. Number 2, do not be afraid to mess up. We all make mistakes. We all say things we wish we didn't. Wish we could just take them right back. I work with my clients on how to bounce back from mistakes. You see, they are out there taking up space, and sometimes they hit a bump in the road. And when you hit that bump, whether it's a colleague who disagrees with you and argues with you that you are wrong, or if the bump is something like you're working on a project and it just completely failed, it's okay. That's going to happen, because when you go out there and when you take up space, you are inevitably going to hit obstacles. You're inevitably going to fail. It's going to happen. You cannot let the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being perfect stop you from showing up every day and taking up space, using your voice, asking for what you want, having difficult conversations. All of those things, sitting in a meeting and sitting at the head of the table, sitting next to someone on the executive leadership team, take up space. Girl, get in there. Don't let fear stop you. Let me let you in on a little secret. Women who take up space aren't fearless. They feel the fear and do it anyway. Number 3, shake out the nerves. For those of you with toddlers in your life, and maybe I'm saying this because I just spent 16 days with my nephew who's 3, you've probably heard of Coco Melon. And there is this rhyme, and I have watched a lot of them. I know. If you're a parent, you're like, get over yourself. I listen to them all day. I know them all by heart. Then you probably know this one. There's a rhyme, and it talks about, or sings about, shake the sillies out. And it's just little children, and they're about to get on stage, and they're performing some sort of recital, and the parents are in the audience, and the teacher notices that they're all nervous. So she breaks into this song about shaking out the sillies, and then she goes through all the different things that you shake out. And one of them is shake out the nerves. As adults, we still have to do this. We just don't have anybody singing for us and helping us do it. We have to do it on our own. I mean, I guess I could sing to you if you'd like. I can add that to my services, but I don't think you want that. Some of us just naturally get nervous. It just means you're excited. And an easy way to shake out the nerves is to practice. Okay, so shake out the nerves really means to practice. It's practice if you are going to lead a meeting. Practice if you have some questions you want to ask in a meeting. I remember when I first started going to meetings, which I was like hell bent on getting invited to these meetings. And then, like, the further my career went, I was like, if you invite me to another meeting, I'm going to lose my mind. Like, why was I fighting to get into these things? But anyway, I digress. When you're in the meeting and maybe it's your first time, maybe it's the first time that you're going to a meeting with this group of individuals and you know what questions you want to ask, you could practice those. If it's giving a presentation, practice, practice, practice. If you are going to pitch to your boss why you deserve and should be given that promotion and raise, practice. Let me give you a little tip. When I work with my clients, they record themselves on Zoom, insert whatever here, pitching to their boss, presentations, leading a meeting. They will practice on Zoom, record themselves, and then send it to me for feedback. So you can do the same exact thing. You can record yourself and then watch it back, and don't say that you don't like hearing your voice. I don't like hearing my voice either. And I've done like 130 Game of Thrones podcast episodes and countless interviews. So just get over it, listen to your voice, listen to it, and then get used to hearing the words that you want to say in that meeting. Get comfortable saying them. So the first time you're hearing them aren't when you sit down. A few things to look for. I'll give you a few more tips on this. When you're watching yourself on Zoom, pay attention to your body language. Are your shoulders up by your ears? Are you kind of hunching over? Are your arms crossed because you're nervous and that's what you're doing right now? Or are you tired and you're crossing your arms? Don't do that. Do whatever you would do. Remember, act like you're at the interview again. Bring that representative back, right? Find that representative again, who you were that day, and that's who you want to be again. Okay, so I gave you 3. Before I give you the bonus, let's go over the 3 again. Number 1, body language and tone. Number 2, don't be afraid to mess up. Number 3, shake the sillies out. Just kidding. Shake the nerves out. Credit goes to Coco Melon on that. All right, bonus. This is one of my favorites. Don't let them interrupt you. Whether you're in meetings, whether it's one-on-one or a big meeting, when someone interrupts you, you have every right to say whatever you need to with respect, to tell the person to wait your turn. Some easy ones. Thanks, Brian. I don't know why I use the guy's name. Yes, you do. Thanks, Brian. If you would let me finish my thought, then we can listen to your idea also. You can also keep it simple and say, with confidence, may I finish, please? That's it. Think about that. Have you ever interrupted somebody, whether it was accidental or because you wanted to get the idea out first or you wanted to impress people? It happens, right? We've all been there where we interrupted people. But if somebody asked me, may I finish first? I'm like, oh, yeah. Gosh, sorry. My best friend does it to me because she'll be talking and I will just interrupt her. Mind you, she talks a lot, but she'll say, let me finish. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, that is the polite thing to do. But I just needed the reminder, like, hey, she's talking. It's not your turn to talk. So, and then you can say what that person can say what they need to say. So it's okay to speak up when someone interrupts you. Do not worry about those narratives out there. Well, people are going to think I'm too bossy. Okay, let it go. That's not for you to worry about. That's none of your business. If you can do it with respect, if you can do it professionally, then you're okay. It is not your concern what other people think about you when you are playing within the professional boundaries. We're going to get interrupted, and it's crazy. People will try to make you feel bad about it. I was just trying to help you. Or sometimes they gaslight you and say, you didn't have to get mad. I can speak also. You sure can when I'm done. So make sure you speak up and say, I'm speaking. Say whatever your version of that is and practice it. Don't forget to practice it. Taking up space means you are confident in what you have to say. You know that your voice needs to be heard. You don't have time to worry yourself with the foolishness of the interrupters. We don't have time for them, not in that moment. And then if they engage you after because they are embarrassed that you called them out, that is none of your business. You don't have time for that, and don't waste your time in engaging in that conversation. All right, my friends, one thing that will help you consistently show up and take up space is also doing some reflection, looking within. A lot of us get pumped up when people say, yeah, go take up space. Here's some ways to do it. And then when you go to do it, oh, this feels a little uncomfortable. Yes, I have something to say. Yes, I know I'm smart, but using my voice in this way is new for me. Using my voice with this group is new for me. Whatever the case may be, stepping outside of your comfort zone is not always easy. I have an easy way to help you get over that hump. Grab my free Manager Mindset workbook so you can have support as you take up space. Scroll to the show notes and you will find it there. It's an easy download. It's free. And it's something that I love. It's something that I used to use on my own. And then I created it into a workbook. And now my clients use it and they tell me how much they love it. They tell me how much, when they commit to doing it for at least 7 days, how much they learn just about themselves, how much more confident they feel as they start to show up and take up space. All right, my friends, this was fun. I always love talking to you, and I am always so grateful that you spend some time with me as well. I love hearing from you. So make sure to join me on Instagram or LinkedIn, and those are both at Jahaan Blake. Say hello. Tell me how you are doing, especially as we are only have 2 months left in 2022, which is crazy to think about. So I know there's a lot going on, and I know that you are probably thinking about, what is 2023 going to look like for me? What things am I going to do differently? So if you want some advice, send me a DM or a message on LinkedIn. Either one, I check them both. Until next week, my friends.